What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Hey, what's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Supremely grateful to be in this position. I repeat, I cannot take it for granted, and I'm so excited to be here to talk football with you guys because we're in the playoffs. We get to talk about playoff football. There's so many organizations, so many teams who can't even sniff the playoffs to save their lives. They're so inconsistent when it comes to making a playoff berth. There's so many teams who are just suffering from malpractice from the higher ups. You know, I can name a handful of organizations that are just thriving, that are just thirsty for consistency, right? And maybe they got the talent. Maybe they got the quarterback, right? But it just seems like they can't get out of their own way. We can't take what we have in Philadelphia for granted. We can't. What we have in Philadelphia is the epitome of consistency. We are the gold standard when it comes to consistency in our conference and in the NFL. When it comes to building teams, winning teams, when it comes to being committed to winning, hiring the right people for the most part, signing the right people for the most part, drafting the right people for the most part, establishing a culture. We can't take what we have for granted in Philadelphia. We really can't. Same thing with Green Bay. Green Bay has a long history of picking the right guy at quarterback. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. I want to say for the past 40 years, the Green Bay has only had 3 quarterbacks. So that's the epitome of consistency and success at that position when it comes to drafting a position. You know, they're always in the mix, always have been in the conversation, right? You know, but again, I give credit to the Eagles. I give credit to the Green Bay Packers for being the class of the conference, the class of the NFL when it comes to consistency, right? This is going to be a legacy game, a legendary game by 2 historic franchises with a storied history. And I also say, like I said before, there are organizations who just can't get out of their own way. And we're not going to spend too much time talking about that, but I want to just give you guys some perspective here about what we're blessed with. The Tennessee Titans are a team that's in purgatory, don't know their left from their right. The Cincinnati Bengals, although they have the quarterback, They have the big-time wide receiver in Jamar Chase. They can't get out of their own way. Green Bay hasn't been in the playoffs since the 2022 season. Am I off when I say that? Am I off when I say that? Let me make sure I got that right here. The Bengals, I'm correct. The Bengals haven't been in the playoffs since they lost in the conference championship to the Kansas City Chiefs. And in 2021, they lost in the Super Bowl to the Rams. So when Joe Burrow got there in 2020, or in 2019 rather, no, 2020, I'm correct, I believe. It doesn't make a difference. Regardless, when Joe Burrow got there, they thought they had their savior. And he has hit a lot of their problems for the 2021 season and 2022 season. But 2023, he's battled injuries. He can't stay healthy. And then he finally gives you a healthy season. And now his defense can't stop a nosebleed. The organization is cheap. They don't want to pay T. Higgins. It's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard out here to sustain success, to cut the check. They're about to lose T. Higgins. That defense has no signs of getting better, if you ask me. So again, consistency. You may have the talent at quarterback, but overall, do you have the overall package? Let's go to another organization real quick. Let's go to another organization real quick. I don't know, the Bears. Purgatory. Football hell. You look at them and you say they got the talent, but what's wrong? What's going on? They can't hire the right people. Right? The New York Giants. Football hell. Who else? The Colts, purgatory. Who else can I mention? The Cardinals, purgatory. You got the quarterback, I think. Purgatory. So I think it's important to not take anything that we have here for granted. The opportunity to play in the playoffs is truly, truly a gift. And I am grateful, supremely grateful to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm grateful to be a spectator of the game. I am supremely grateful for it all. And I want you guys to be grateful for it as well. And we have a golden opportunity. We have a golden opportunity here. Golden. To knock off the Packers and kill who's ever in front of us. So make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We just got to charge it to the game. Before we get too deep into the Eagles-Packers talk, because we're going to do that, we're going to talk about the task that the Eagles defense has against that Josh Jacobs-led offense. Yeah, I said it. That Josh Jacobs-led offense. I mean, that's who they've been over the past handful of weeks. But regardless, we're going to get into that. I also want to start the show by addressing our AP All-Pros, our Associated Press All-Pros. Now, we've so many different publications come up with their All-Pro list. PFF, I believe the 33rd team comes out with one, if I'm not mistaken. The NFLPA comes out with their All-Pro team, right? You know, we've seen Pro Bowl selections, but the AP, the Associated Press All-Pro selections are the official All-Pro certification of the NFL. That's the one we respect with the utmost. Not saying those other ones don't have any value, but this is the one that gets guys paid. This is the one where guys either make money or lose money on. This is the one that's highly debated. And I want to give credit, I want to give praise to the Philadelphia Eagles All-Pros that made the list. Let's get right to it here. we have, and let's bring it up on screen. My man Philly Mike from the Philly Talk podcast, he posted it perfectly. I love the way he outlined it here. We're going to bring it up. Shout out to Philly Mike from the Philly Talk podcast. So, here we go. Here are your all pros. The official AP voting, the official Associated Press voting for the all pro. Shout out to Philly Mike from the Philly Talk podcast for consolidating it like this. The Eagles have 6 all pros from the 2024-2025 season. Their first team all pros are running back Saquon Barkley and linebacker Zach Bond. Zach Bond. We expected Saquon to get it at this point. But Zach Bond, a first team all pro. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm going to be really shocked. I'm going to be really shocked if Howie Roseman decides to pay this man. Because Howie Roseman he's always been tight in the wallet when it comes to paying linebackers. That is a fact. Regardless of how we feel about whether he should get paid or not, history has shown that he doesn't like to play linebackers. But at the same time, we haven't had a linebacker play at this level since the early 2000s, dare I say. We haven't seen linebacker play this steady, this consistent since what? When we had maybe D'Amico Ryans for that season or two, or maybe Jeremiah Trotter. Some people would say TJ Edwards, but TJ Edwards didn't even make an all-pro team with the Philadelphia Eagles with what he did, right? And I would argue Zach Bond is better. He's more versatile, can stop the run and play in coverage, and he forces more turnovers, gets more sacks. A more modern version of the position in which you want. But Zach Bond, man, first team all-pro Zach Bond. I think this is so important for the NFL. Not just the Eagles. I think this is so important for the NFL. Because my biggest concern when it came to the all-pro voting was if they were only going to focus on the big names, if they were going to ignore this man's impact and production because of his lack of notoriety, the lack of fanfare behind his name. And seeing Zach Bond penciled in as a first-team All-Pro at linebacker when he was historically in his career off ball, more of an edge rusher, right? I told people prior to the season starting, I said this with my chest. I said, be on the lookout for Zach Bond to make a major impact on this Eagles team. Now, granted, he has exceeded my expectations beyond belief, just has the entire defense. You see, it's not just Zach Bond who's exceeded my expectations beyond belief. The entire defense has exceeded my expectations. But I declared that Zach Bond would be a major contributor on this team as a starter. I declared it. Some of you guys laughed. And maybe some of you guys are tired of me taking credit for declaring this. I'm sorry that I saw the writing on the wall and you didn't. But I stand by this. And I was one of the first to say Zach Bond is going to be a guy for us. One of the first. Either you were there or you weren't. The facts are the facts, and it's stamped on the channel. Do your research. Do your due diligence. When we signed him, I said he's going to be a player. I did my research on the brother when we signed him. I looked into those final 4 or 5 games where he started for the Saints when they were battling injury. He was a perennial special teamer for the Saints. Perennial. That was his thing. But he got his opportunity to start in those final 4 or 5 games last season. And the brother was electric. He was dynamic. He gave you sacks, gave you interceptions, gave you tackles for loss, forced fumbles, pass deflections, tackles. Zach Bond has found his place in Philadelphia. And I would be distraught. I would be distraught if the Eagles do not re-sign Zach Bond. I will be distraught. He's a Pro Bowler and a first-team All-Pro. The bag is going to be enormous. But will Howie Roseman cut the check? Will he recognize the value in Zach Bond's contributions, or will he sit back and say, that's the product of Vic Fangio's coaching, and I trust Vic Fangio to coach up any linebacker to do that job? That's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the challenge. Will Howie Roseman say to himself, although Zach Bond had a career year in the highest degree, I trust Vic Fangio more than I trust Zach Bond to continue at this pace? That's going to be the challenge. But I say to that, when you find someone who fits your scheme and who executes it at the level that Zach Bond does, and who's the maestro of the defense, someone that they trust, someone that they know is going to make the play, someone who's going to force turnovers, get sacks, pass deflections, tackles for loss. When you have someone who can affect the game the way Zach Bond has for the Philadelphia Eagles, you have to water that. You have to nurture that. You got to pay that. Now, granted, Howie Roseman, hold on, time's out. I got to address this. I'm sorry. I got to address this. And we're going to get to the rest of the All-Pro team. We're going to address this. I want to talk to Reef on Bucks personally. I'm going to bring this back up on screen for a second, but I want to talk to Reef personally. And this is how I know people don't watch my show consistently. This is how I know. Because when it came to Nakobe Dean, my sentiment has been very consistent. And if you watch my content religiously, if you lock into my content like it's the Bible, all praise to the Most High. If you are truly a spectator of my work, you would know that I have never given a definitive opinion about Nakobe Dean. As a matter of fact, I never said he was bad. I never said he was good. I said I have to see what he does. I have to see what he does. Because his rookie year, he didn't play. And his second season, he was on IR most of the season. So basically, he didn't play for 2 seasons. This is his first year, or was his first year starting, Reef. So I say again, the content is out there. The receipts are out there. I have been very, very, very consistent about how I feel about Nakobe Dean. You had some people jump out the window and say he's a bust. He can't play. You had certain people crown him early, say he's going to be the guy. I said, what proof do we have of either? What proof did we have of either way? Did we have evidence that Nakobe Dean was going to be garbage? No. Did we have evidence that Nakobe Dean was going to be spectacular this season? No. We had no evidence of either argument. So you know what I said? I wanted to be the adult in the room. I said, you know what? Me personally, I'm not going to say Nakobe Dean's not a good player. I'm also not going to say he's a great player. I'm not going to crown him. I'm not going to throw him in the garbage. I'm going to wait and see and be patient with this brother. Now, I did say this. I said Zach Bond is having a better training camp than Nakobe Dean. That was a fact. Let's not change the narrative here. What I did say about Nakobe Dean is that out of all the linebackers, he was not having the best training camp as it was being reported to us. They signed Devin White. They signed Oren Burks, right? They added all these bodies to compete with Nakobe Dean and push him. Now, we know Howie Roseman wanted Nakobe Dean to be the guy. We know that. But all throughout OTAs, mandatory minicamp, training camp, not once was Nakobe Dean talked about as being one of the better linebackers on this roster in terms of having the best training camp. Not once. They talked about Zach Bond. The reports were there. The articles were there. We know who was getting the first team snaps. We know this. It was Zach Bond and Devin White the entire time. And they would mix in Nakobe Dean. They would mix in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. But then week 1 came. Devin White was hurt. And Nakobe Dean was penciled in as the starter. And they never looked back. They never looked back. So that begs the question, were we misled about Nakobe Dean's play? Maybe not. Because you guys saw in the open practice, he got routed up by Kenny Gainwell a couple times. So again, I say, Nakobe Dean, in my humble opinion, wasn't a bad player, wasn't a great player. He was a player that I needed to learn more about. That's enough about that. That's enough about that. Takeem Hilton, another guy who I know is not reading the articles. You're not reading. Do your due diligence. In training camp, Zach Bond and Devin White were getting the first team reps. He was getting the first team reps. He was the one that was starting training camp. No shit, everybody's rotating. They're trying to get everybody some time on the grass. But every time training camp started, Devin White and Zach Bond were the first team guys. That's not a question. That is a fact. Do your research. Read. Every time training camp started, Devin White was the starter. Next to Zach Bond. That's a fact. That's a fact. We got to be honest about this. So I say this, you guys. Nakobe Dean has not only proved a lot of people wrong, not only has he exceeded expectations, he's had one of the best seasons we've seen at linebacker next to Zach Bond. Nakobe Dean is a player. He is a player for us. He was drafted in the 3rd round, and I would say he's shown you 1st round, borderline 2nd round talent. And I think he's only going to get better. He's only going to get smarter. Those mental reps for Nakobe Dean have shown itself. Nakobe Dean had no choice but to get a ton of mental reps. And he's gotten them. And I'm proud of Nakobe Dean. I'm proud of Zach Bond. I'm proud of those brothers for proving doubters wrong. I'm proud of those brothers for exceeding expectations. I'm proud of those brothers for going above the call. You can make an argument this defense is not what it is without Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond doing their jobs at the level they did it at. These brothers got sacks, forced turnovers, pass deflections, tackles for loss, getting run stops at the line of scrimmage. Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean are a match made in football heaven. I love it. And I am so proud of what Zach Bond was able to accomplish in his first year as an Eagles linebacker. I pray to God Harry Roseman finds it in his heart to re-sign Zach Bond. I hope he looks at him and say, listen, man, I had no idea you were capable of this. But this is going to be the question. This is going to be the big question, you guys. This is going to be the question. Will Harry Roseman pay Zach Bond and recognize his value to this team and the scheme? Or will he look at Vic Fangio and say, hey, if Vic Fangio could turn Zach Bond into a player, I know he could turn another guy into a player. I trust Vic Fangio in his scheme and his teaching more than I trust Zach Bond to sustain this. That's going to be the question. And quite frankly, I have no answer for it. Because historically, Harry Roseman has not paid linebackers, no matter how good they played. And also, as of late, he has been bucking the trends. So we'll see how that goes. Congratulations to Zach Bond. Congratulations to Saquon Barkley for being first-team All-Pros. Now, let's get to the second-team All-Pros. Second team, baby. Second team. You have A.J. Brown, which actually was a little bit of a shock to me. Which came as a bit of a shock to me. Because, and I'm not saying A.J. Brown didn't have a good season. Trust me, I'm not saying that at all. Trust me, I'm not saying that at all. But A.J. Brown, he missed a few games, right? But what he's been able to do in the limited amount of time has been nothing short of remarkable. A.J. Brown on the season, 97 targets, 67 catches, average 16 yards in a reception, 7 touchdowns. I mean, leads the team in yak yards. But when you look at the NFL stats, right, as far as wide receiver play, when you look at it, A.J. Brown isn't even in the top 15 in terms of yardage. He's not in the top 15 in terms of yardage. He's not in the top 5 or top 10. It's crazy. It's crazy that A.J. Brown made second team All-Pro, being ranked 17th in yards. He's ranked 37th in receptions. He's 8th in average yards per catch. He's tied for 21st in the league with touchdowns. But he's also 5th in the league in yards per game. Didn't turn the ball over. A.J. Brown, I'm just curious. Listen, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. He was super efficient. He had no like my man S. Blunt said, super efficient, no drops, 90 targets. I mean, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I'm happy he got it. I am happy he got it. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. But I think it goes to what S. Blunt said, his efficiency, his impact on the game. It's remarkable. It's remarkable, man. A.J. Brown has been an All-Pro every season he's been a Philadelphia Eagle. A.J. Brown will retire as a Philadelphia Eagle. A.J. Brown will go down as an Eagles Hall of Famer. There's no question about it. All he has to do is just keep pace and continue to do what he's doing. Jordan Mailata, second team All-Pro. Well-deserved. 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 I argued all year that Jordan Mailata has been one of the best left tackles in football. One of the best in football. And his All-Pro selection has proven that. His All-Pro selection has proven that. Congratulations, Jordan Mailata. Well-deserved. Lane Johnson, second team All-Pro. Do the Philadelphia Eagles have the best tackle tandem in football? I say yes. Both of your left and right tackles, respectively, have made the All-Pro. Have made the All-Pro team. And Jalen Carter, second year as the Philadelphia Eagles, second year in the NFL. Man. Congratulations to Jalen Breadman, Baby Rhino Carter. Breadman, the Baby Rhino. Shout out to him. I like this All-Pro team. I like it a lot. I like this All-Pro team a lot. For the Eagles, that is. I like this. I can't argue with this. I think the first team guys and the second team guys are properly placed. Properly placed. And guess what? If Jalen Carter would have had more sacks, he would have been first team. He didn't have as many sacks as I think his rookie year, right? Let me double check that. This season, Jalen Carter had 4.5 sacks. His rookie season, he had 6 sacks. So his sack numbers did go down. But what made Jalen Carter so fascinating this season was the leaps he took in his conditioning and how dominant he was at the line of scrimmage. You got to give all the credit in the world to Jalen Carter for taking his game to another level this season. His impact is otherworldly. Otherworldly. So that's your All-Pros, Philadelphia. First team All-Pro selections for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley and linebacker Zach Bond. Your second team All-Pro selections for the Philadelphia Eagles, A.J. Brown, wide receiver. Left tackle, Jordan Mailata. Right tackle, Lane Johnson, who's going to be a Hall of Famer. And defensive tackle, Jalen Carter, who's on his way. On his way. Congratulations to those brothers. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. Let me get to these super chats real quick. And then we're going to get started. Sweet Chin Music. He said they snubbed, and thank you for the $5 super chat, Sweet Chin Music. He says they snubbed Jalen Carter on the All-Pro team. He's going to go crazy on Green Bay this Sunday. I think second team All-Pro is fair. I think second team All-Pro. Remember, the AP selection is the official. That's the one that gets the most reverence. But I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Jalen Carter being second team All-Pro. Not mad at it one bit. Because you got to think about who's in front of him. He's next to, make sure I got this right here. Zach Allen in Denver and Jalen Carter. Not mad at it. I mean, I got to do my due diligence on Zach Allen. I got to do my due diligence. I got to do my due diligence on that. I'm not mad at it. When you think about the first team interior guys, Cameron Hayward, Chris Jones, right? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it, man. For Jalen Carter to make second team All-Pro in his second season, that's remarkable. That's great. That's great. That's great. He's the second team All-Pro next to Zach Allen in Denver. And ahead of him is Cam Hayward and Chris Jones. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at it at all. Brock Bowers made first team All-Pro in his rookie season. That is insane. That's insane. That's insane, bruh. So the first team All-Pros. Here we go, you guys. First team All-Pros. Thank you for the super chat, Sweet Chin. Sweet Chin also doubled back and said JC should have been first team, sacks or not. No, it matters. It matters. It matters. But second team was not a bad spot. When you think about who he's up there with. Not a bad spot, Sweet Chin. Thank you for the super chat, though. Your first team All-Pros on offense. Quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Running back, Saquon Barkley, Philadelphia. Fullback, Patrick Ricard from Baltimore. Tight end, Brock Bowers, Las Vegas Raiders. Wide receivers were Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's fitting. That's fitting. Left tackle, Tristan Wirfs. Left guard, Joe Thuney. Center, Creed Humphrey, both from Kansas City. Right guard, Quinn Marinez out of Denver. Right tackle, Penny Sewell, Detroit. Edge rushers on defense. Myles Garrett, this is first team, by the way. Myles Garrett, Cleveland. Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati. Interior lineman, Cameron Hayward, Pittsburgh. Chris Jones, KC. Linebackers, first team, Zach Bond, Philly, Fred Warner, San Francisco, Roquan Smith, Baltimore. It's so funny because Zach Bond said that he studied Fred Warner and Roquan Smith. Cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain and Derek Stingley, first team All-Pros. Slot corner, Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore. Marlon plays on the outside, but okay. I see what they did there. Safeties, Kirby Joseph, Detroit. Xavier McKinney, Green Bay. I'm not mad at that. And then special teams, place kicker Chris Boswell, punter Jack Fox, Detroit. Kick returner Kevontae Turpin, Dallas. Punt returner Marvin Mims Jr., Denver. Special teamer Brendan Schooler. Long snapper Andrew DePaulo. Okay. All right, now you get second team. Second team. Offense. Quarterback Josh Allen, Buffalo. Running back Derrick Henry, Baltimore. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk, San Francisco. Tight end George Kittle. Wide receivers Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, and A.J. Brown. The entire NFC East outside of the Giants, of course. Outside of the Giants. The entire NFC East made the All-Pro team at wide receiver. Let me ask you guys a question. Does the NFC East have the best combination of number one wide receivers in football? Let me ask you guys that question. Let me get your opinion on that. Scary Terry, Washington, CeeDee Lamb, Dallas, and A.J. Brown, Philadelphia. Does the NFC East have the best combination of number one receivers in football? Number one receivers. Listen to my words. Listen to my words. Does the NFC East have the best number one receiver combinations in football? Is there any other division that has a number one receiver that can rival any of these guys as a group? I know the NFC North has Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then after that, then who? After that, then who? The NFC North has two guys. They got two guys. The NFC East has three guys. The North, Jimmy, you got to listen. You got to listen. Take your feelings out of it. You got to listen. You got to listen. Okay, let's throw Keenan Allen in there. Are you taking Keenan Allen over Terry McLaurin today? Today. I'm not. Are you taking Keenan Allen over CeeDee Lamb today? I'm not. Are you taking Keenan Allen over A.J. Brown today? I'm not. Are you taking Amon-Ra St. Brown over A.J. Brown? Debatable, but I'm not. Are you taking Amon-Ra St. Brown over CeeDee Lamb today? Arguable, but I won't. Are you taking Justin Jefferson over A.J. Brown? A lot of people would, but I won't. Are you taking Justin Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb? Yeah. Are you taking Justin Jefferson over Terry McLaurin? Yeah. But I'm sorry. I mean, as much as I'm a fan of Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think he's definitively or head and shoulders above CeeDee Lamb. He's definitely not better than A.J. Brown. I'm talking about number one receivers. Number ones. Devontae Smith is a number two. Just saying. And by the way, Malik Neighbors is coming. Pause. He's on his way. Malik Neighbors is on his way. Just saying. I'm just saying, man. When you talk about dominance. A.J. Brown is probably top 3 in the NFL in terms of just dominance. Justin Jefferson, dominant. Jamar Chase, dominant. A.J. Brown, dominant. There aren't, like, there's a bunch of talented guys, but dominant. It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough. All right. Let's get to why we really came here, bro. Let's talk about oh, by the way, let me finish this all pro list. Excuse me. Let me finish. So where are we? Okay, we got to the wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown. This is second team. Jordan Mailata, second team. Philadelphia, left guard, Quentin Nelson from the Colts. Center, Frank Ragnow, Detroit. Right guard, Chris Lindstrom, Atlanta. Right tackle, Lane Johnson. This is the second team. Now on defense, you got TJ Watt, Nick Bonito, Andrew Van Ginkel. On the edge. Interior, you got interior lineman, you got Zach Allen from Denver. Jalen Carter from Philly. Shout out to the boy. Shout out to Breadman, the baby rhino. Linebackers, you have Frankie Louvu out of Washington. Bobby Wagner out of Washington. And Zaire Franklin from the Colts. Shout out to Philly's own. Philly's own Zaire Franklin. Corners, you got Trip McDuffie out of KC and Christian Gonzalez out of New England. Christian Gonzalez is a dog. Derwin James in the slot for the Chargers, a dog. Safeties for the second team, Kyle Hamilton and Budda Baker. Not mad at it. I like it. Not mad at it. And special teams, you got place kicker Brandon Aubrey, Dallas, punter Logan Cook, Jacksonville, kick returner Austin Eckler, Washington, punt returner Khalif Raymond, Detroit, special teamer JT Gray from New Orleans, and long snapper Ross Matisik from Jacksonville. All right. That's your all-pro team, you guys. That's your all-pros. Your Philadelphia Eagles. 6 all-pro players. Saquon Barkley and Zach Ball first team. A.J. Brown, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter, second team. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. Let's get to this Eagles-Packers matchup. As Blunt says, Tone, do you think Lamar Jackson will be MVP with the first team All-Pro? He better be. He better be. He better be. So, yes, I do think he will. I do think he will. All right. Listen, we're not going to pay Jimmy Hoffa any real attention, you guys, because he's trolling. And yeah, A.J. Brown missed, 4 games? He missed 4 games. Missed 4 games and still did what he did. See, context matters. Context matters. He missed 4 games and had a 2,000-yard running back. And his targets went down and still had over 1,000 yards and 7 tutties. Context matters. I mean, just saying A.J. Brown had back-to-back seasons over 1,400 yards receiving. Back-to-back seasons. I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? What are we doing? Let's not waste time on that. You know what I mean? He missed 4 games. Ranked in the top 5 in yards per game. Come on. Come on. Hey, at least Hoffa said, you know what, respect, I ain't know. At least he said, respect, I didn't know. Hey, lay off him now. I respect somebody who says, oh, my bad, I didn't know he missed 4 games. I respect that. That's why I like Jimmy Hoffa. Even though we debate about our teams, as we should, I respect Jimmy Hoffa for keeping it a buck. Sometimes. Shout out to my man, Jimmy. Shout out to Jimmy Hoffa, man. Our resident Green Bay fan. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys about a player who's very liable to wreck a game. Somebody who the Philadelphia Eagles must account for. You know, yesterday or on Wednesday, we spoke about the Packers defense and how although they have talent in there, they can be had in key spots like the nickel, right? Kayshawn Nixon, like their safety, Javon Bullard, right? Like Eric Stokes, their corner, who's filling in for Jair Alexander, right? You know, Carrington Valentine, who has shown to have a good season, but he's a young player. He's a young player still. And he has yet to face somebody like an A.J. Brown. Carrington Valentine is 23 years old. He was drafted last season, right? He's having a good year. Don't get it twisted. Having a good year. But he has not faced anybody remotely like A.J. Brown. He has not dealt with anybody as dominant as A.J. Brown. So Carrington Valentine is going to have his hands full. He has not dealt with anybody who's a technician like Devontae Smith. His hands are going to be full. Eric Stokes can be had. I'm telling you. Those corners can be had. Even though I respect what Carrington has done. I respect what he's done. I respect it. I respect it. I'm not going to dismiss what he's done. I respect what he's done. But he hasn't ran up against a guy like A.J. Brown. He hasn't. I respect it. A.J. Brown is better than Metcalf. Stop it. Stop it. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. Seattle doesn't have a wide receiver better than Devontae Smith on their roster. A.J. Brown is better than DK. Devontae is better than Jackson Smith and Njigba. Jackson Njigba and Tyler Lockett. Come on, man. What are we talking about? Just saying. A.J. Brown is better than DK. Devontae is better than Tyler Lockett and Jackson Smith and Njigba. Just saying. Just saying. But regardless, though, let's get back on task. A player that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to account for in this game. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. The good brother, Josh Jacobs. This is not going to be a walk in the park at all. I'm telling you that right now. This is not going to be a walk in the park. Josh Jacobs is coming off of an amazing season. Over 300 carries. Over 1,300 rushing yards. 15 rushing touchdowns. Averaged over 4 yards a carry. Josh Jacobs, young player, 26 years old. The real deal. Let's not even cap about it. Let's not even cap about it. Their offense runs through Josh Jacobs at this point, right? Runs through it. Runs through him. And it's interesting because this is really a recent development. This is a recent development. Josh Jacobs' impact on his team has increased exponentially because Jordan Love has been inconsistent throwing the football. That's a fact. See, here's the difference between Jordan Love with Josh Jacobs and Jalen Hurts with Saquon Barkley. Although both of these players, and look, let me make sure I bring this on screen too. Let me make sure I keep it a buck. Context matters. I want to make sure I'm fair to the opponent. I want to make sure I'm fair to the opponent here. When it comes to pass attempts per game, right? I want you guys to check this. Because I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be very, very fair. When it comes to pass attempts per game, pass attempts, right? You scroll all the way down to the bottom. You know who's there? When it comes to pass attempts per game, you got Philadelphia at 32 with 26.4 per game, 26.4 pass attempts. You got Baltimore at 31 with 28.1 pass attempts. You got Green Bay at 30th with 28.2 pass attempts. You got Pittsburgh at 29th with 29.4 pass attempts. You got the Chargers ranked 28th with 30.0 pass attempts. You got the Colts 27th ranked with 30.2 pass attempts. You got Buffalo 26th with 30.6 pass attempts. And you got Washington 25th with 30.9 pass attempts. My point is, most of the teams that make the playoffs don't pass the ball too much. They don't overpass the ball. They don't pass it just to pass it. But even beyond that, let's focus on Philly. Let's focus on Green Bay. Philly, 26.4 pass attempts, 32nd in the league. Green Bay, 28.2 pass attempts, 30th in the league. Both of these teams are not asking their quarterback to throw the ball more than 30 times. Both Green Bay and Philadelphia are not requiring their quarterbacks to pass the ball more than 30 times. But what they are asking of their quarterbacks, they're asking their quarterbacks to be efficient. Both of these teams have signed two of the premier running backs in the offseason. Green Bay signed Josh Jacobs, gave him big money. Philadelphia signed Saquon Barkley, gave them big money. They have really evolved and taken both offenses, respectively, Green Bay and Philadelphia, to the next level. Both of these teams have relied on their running backs to, I don't want to say carry, but be the focal point of the offense. And when Green Bay tried to make Jordan Love the focal point of the offense, he was a turnover machine. So, here's my thing. Here's my point that I'm trying to make. Although Josh Jacobs is pivotal to that offense, and although Saquon Barkley is pivotal to the Philadelphia Eagles offense, respectively, and Green Bay and Philly both require their quarterbacks to throw the ball 28 times or less, here's the difference between the two quarterbacks. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. The difference is completion percentage. That's the difference. The difference is efficiency. The difference is effectiveness. That's the difference. That's the difference. I want to show you guys this. I can show you better than I can tell you. Because you got some people who say, well, Tone, the Eagles rely on Saquon Barkley to help Jalen Hurts as well. Yes, they do. They do. That's a fact. They do. But there's a difference. Although Saquon Barkley is helping Jalen Hurts and taking pressure off his plate, he's more efficient and effective with the opportunities. That's a fact. It's a fact. Let's look at it like this. Let's check this out. Let's check it out. On the season, Jordan Love, he's completing 63% of his passes. 63% of his passes. And on top of that, make sure I got this right here. He's played in 15 games this season. 15 games. Completing 63% of his passes. "25 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, with a 96.7 passer rating, over 3,300 yards passing, right? So let's bring on Jalen Hurts' numbers. Jalen Hurts, his passing numbers are not gaudy at all, right? 18 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 2,900 passing yards. For context, Jalen Hurts has missed 3 games. if you want to be technical, he's missed 11 quarters of football, week 16, 17, and 18. But here's the difference. Jalen Hurts with Saquon Barkley completing 68.7% of his passes with a 103.7 passer rating. So what I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to make is, Jalen Hurts, more efficient, more effective, more efficient. Jordan Love, 63% of his passes completed, below league average. Jalen Hurts, 68%, above league average. Just saying. But I digress. Josh Jacobs is the key. Josh Jacobs is the key. Josh Jacobs is the person that the Eagles are going to have to really key in on. Because if Josh Jacobs gets going early, now granted, you know, as far as rushing goes, the past several weeks, Josh Jacobs has kind of been pedestrian running the ball as of late. Let's zoom in on this. These are Josh Jacobs' rushing numbers over the past several weeks. Josh Jacobs hasn't rushed for over 100 yards since November. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. That's not opinion. These are Josh Jacobs' rushing numbers over the past several weeks. Josh Jacobs has not rushed for over 100 yards since November 24th. Now, granted, Sunday against the Chicago Bears, he was averaging 7 yards a carry. He could have ran for over 100 yards, but they benched him to preserve him for the playoffs. Not mad at that. Want to add context to that. He could have very well had over 100 yards if they kept him in that Bears game. He probably would have won the game too. Just to add context. But prior to that, he had 100 yards on November 24th against San Fran, and since then, Miami held him to 43 yards, only 2 yards a carry. Detroit held him to under 4 yards a carry, 66 yards rushing. Seattle held him to 3.5 yards a carry, 26 attempts, 94 yards rushing. New Orleans. Now, granted, New Orleans, context, they blew him out. They shut him out 34-0 so that he didn't have to run the ball that much. They benched him. Context. I'm not going to do him dirty. I'm going to give context. The New Orleans game and the Chicago game, he could have easily had over 100 yards. But New Orleans, they beat him 34-0. Shut him out. You bench him. You sit him down. No need to run him. Chicago, it's the final game of the year. Your players are getting hurt. He did get a touchdown. He's averaging 7 yards a carry in that game, but you bench him. You're trying to play the playoffs. So again, I'm not going to be facetious and dismiss what he could have done in these games if he played Chicago and New Orleans. But I'm not going to ignore the Minnesota game. 69 rushing yards. I'm not going to ignore the Seattle game. 94 yards at 3.5 yards a carry. I'm not going to ignore the Detroit game, although he had 3 touchdowns, but they held him to under 4 yards a carry. 66 yards rushing. I'm not going to ignore the Miami game. He did have a touchdown, but they held him to 2 yards a carry. I'm not going to ignore that. So although I'm going to be fair, and he does get touchdowns. He is their red zone guy. But, and I did add context to the Chicago game and the New Orleans game. But he hasn't really been a game breaker. Hasn't really been a game breaker. I mean, throughout this whole span, he hasn't had a run for more than 20 yards. He hasn't had his longest run over this stretch that I'm talking about here from San Fran to Chicago, November 24th to January 5th. His longest run has been 20 yards. Now, granted, that's an explosive play. But when you look at Saquon Barkley and you look at how dominant he's been, now we're looking at Saquon Barkley numbers, you guys. Now we're looking at Saquon Barkley here. Saquon Barkley, man, dominance. 167, 150, 65 yards, 124, 107, 255, 146, 66, 150. I mean, it's night and day. It's night and day. But I still say you have to account for what Josh Jacobs does. Josh Jacobs is not a slouch. He is a key part to what they want to do on offense. He allows their play action game to work. And when Josh Jacobs is not cooking, Jordan Love is not as efficient. Not as efficient. And you know what's funny? When Saquon Barkley has a modest game, Jalen Hurts doesn't fold. He still puts up numbers. Also, by the way, just to give context to my man, Jalen Hurts, just to give respect to my man, Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love on the season had a grand total of 26 total touchdowns. 26 total. Compared to Jalen Hurts's grand total of 32 touchdowns. So in my humble opinion, production is production. Jalen Hurts has over 3,500 yards in total offense. Jordan Love has just over 3,400 yards in total offense. In my world, production is production. So this is going to be a battle of the gods. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. The Eagles' defensive line has their work cut out for them. But I trust those boys. I trust my guys versus they guys any day of the week. I trust Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Moro Ojoma. I trust those boys. Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean. Who am I forgetting? I trust all those guys to get the job done. I really, really do. I trust Jalix Hunt, Thomas Booker IV, Cooper DeJean. Here's the thing. They didn't have to deal with Cooper DeJean last time. This is the thing. They didn't have to deal with Cooper DeJean last time. So this is a big part of this. This is a big part of this. Last time the Eagles defense played the Packers, Cooper DeJean was not in the lineup. Cooper DeJean is a remarkable run defender. He's a remarkable tackler. He's remarkable in coverage. His gap discipline is phenomenal. His edge discipline is phenomenal. I hope Green Bay doesn't think Josh Jacobs is going to be able to bounce anything outside. I hope they don't think that. I hope they don't think that. I really hope they don't think that. Hold on, we got to talk about something too. We got to talk about something. Because I just don't understand. I don't understand. No, you know what? Let me take that back. I do understand. Green Bay should be proud and confident of the football they've played. They should. They should be very happy about the football they played. They should be confident about it. Josh Jacobs, remarkable player. Jordan Love, great quarterback. Christian Watson, really good wide receiver. Oh, wait, I forgot. Christian Watson's not playing. I forgot Christian Watson's not playing. My bad. Prayers up to Christian Watson, though. Get well soon, brother. But I forgot. Y'all best receiver, y'all most dynamic receiver, y'all most trustworthy receiver is not playing. I forgot about that. Damn. Forgot about that. Oh, well. You do what you got to do. Like, the way this... See, here's the thing, right? Last time Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs ran up against Quinyon Mitchell, they did nothing. The only receiver that was able to do something for y'all when we played was Jalen Reed. And he caught us lacking. On some big plays, for sure. But the Eagles are better. Cooper DeJean is in there, not Avonte Maddox. I think people are underestimating. I think the Green Bay Packers fans are underestimating the difference between Cooper DeJean and Avonte Maddox. That's a big part of this. This is a big part of this. Last time Romeo Doubs. Matter of fact, let me pull this up. Let's not even play around. Let me pull this up. Let me look at the stats. Let me not even BS about this. Last time the Eagles played the Packers, Jaden Reed, who I gave flowers to, by the way, he had 6 targets, 4 catches for 138 yards. It's really, really good. Really, really good. It's great. And he also had this really, really big run as well for a touchdown. So Jaden Reed had a hell of a game, right? 5 touches, 170 plus yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed had a game for sure. But let's talk about Romeo Doubs, right? Let's talk about Romeo Doubs. By the way, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, don't those brothers got drops? Don't the Packers lead the league in drops? Let me just say, I mean, don't the Packers, like Christian Watson had 2 drops on the season. That's not bad. Romeo Doubs had 9 drops. Jaden Reed had what, 7 drops? I mean, but anyway, last time Romeo Doubs met Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, he had 4 catches for 50 yards on 7 targets. The last time Christian Watson met Quinyon Mitchell. The last time Christian Watson met Quinyon Mitchell and Darius Slay, he had 5 targets, 3 catches, 13 yards receiving. 1 touchdown that he got on Avonte Maddox, who's not even playing. His longest catch of the day was 6 yards. Dontavion Wicks, 3 targets, no catches. Luke Musgrave, 2 targets, no catches. Tucker Kraft, 3 targets, 2 catches, 37 yards. I'm trying to understand where you have the edge. I'm trying to understand where you have the advantage. I'm not seeing it. Jaden Reed is a utility player. I don't expect him to be what he was in week 1 versus this defense. I don't expect it. You're without Christian Watson, meaning that there's more attention being paid to guys like Jaden Reed, more attention being paid to Romeo Doubs and Dontavion Wicks and all those guys. Tucker Kraft, say who you want. Christian Watson is your real weapon in the air. Let's not really play dumb about this. Christian Watson is your real weapon. Christian Watson, along with Jordan Love, obviously, helps that passing game go. Christian Watson is what makes your passing game dynamic. He's your biggest and your damn near your fastest wide receiver. And he's out of the lineup. I think you guys are underestimating what that does. And we've also seen what Jordan Love is without him. We know what he is without him. The numbers go down. The efficiency goes down. The explosive plays go down when Christian Watson is not in the lineup. That is a fact. That is a fact. Yeah, they feed everybody. I know what they do. But you got to understand, each hand washes the other. They are pieces to a larger puzzle. That's what y'all not understanding. They are pieces to a much larger puzzle. And when you take Christian Watson out of that lineup, they are not the same. The efficiency goes down. The explosive plays go down. It's a fact. They do feed everybody, but they are a bunch of utility guys. None of those guys are dominant. None of those guys can take over a game. That's my point. You can make an argument that the Green Bay receiver core, they're all the same guy, just different skill level. You can make an argument that they are all the same type of receiver, just a different skill level. I think Romeo Doubs is probably their most refined, their most technically sound receiver. That's what I think, in my humble opinion. I think Romeo Doubs is their most technically sound receiver. But Romeo Doubs, what? He had 9 drops on the season. How can I look at him and say he's a problem or he's going to be he's trustworthy, whatever it may be? Look, all I know is Josh Jacobs. You limit him, and you limit him. Okay. Let's look at this real quick. Check this, y'all. Check this. Because I'm gonna be fair about this. I'm gonna be fair about this. Check this. I'm gonna be fair about this. I'm gonna be reasonable. So This is the Green Bay Packers receiving stats for the season. I'm going to be fair. 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 So it says here that Christian Watson is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth. He's fifth on the team. Fifth on the team in targets. By the way, Jimmy Hoffa tried to say Christian Watson was on IR all year. He played in 15 games. Hold on, where is that? He trying to say Christian Watson was on IR all year long. He played in 15 games. All year long, he played in 15 games. How? Oh, Luke Musgrave, got you. My bad. Luke Musgrave you're talking about. You're talking Musgrave. My bad. Musgrave. Got you, understood. Anyway, I digress. So, nonetheless, and by the way, this guy, Luke Musgrave, that he's talking about, he's played in 7 games. He missed 12. He missed 11 games. He missed 10 games. Luke Musgrave has missed 10 games. He played in 7. Luke Musgrave has 10 targets in 7 games played, 45 yards. Come on, man. I'm not worried about Luke Musgrave. He played in 7 games, has 10 targets. What are we talking about? Stop it. He played in 7 games, got 10 targets, 45 yards receiving. Come on. Anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. Christian Watson, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth in targets. Now, if you want to go amongst wide receivers, he's 4th. But we're talking about total guys catching the ball here. He's 5th on the team in targets, right? But here's what Jimmy Hoffa is ignoring. Here's what Jimmy Hoffa doesn't want to talk about. This is why Christian Watson is going to be missed. And this is why Christian Watson is the reason you're going to lose this game. Because Christian Watson, he may be 5th on your team in targets, but he's number 1 on your team in average yards per catch by a long shot. By a long shot. I'll wait. My point is, sure, Christian Watson may not lead your team in targets. He's 5th in that category for the team. He may not lead your team in yards. He's 3rd on the team in that category. He may not lead your team in touchdowns. He's actually 5th on the team in that category. But when it comes to average yards per reception, when it comes to being the big play guy, when it comes to taking the top off of the defense, when it comes to being that go-to guy for a big play, he is that guy. And your offense is not the same without that brother. He's not the same. The offense is not the same without that brother. I'm telling you this. Christian Watson is 6'4", 208 pounds, and runs a damn 4.3, 4.4, whatever it is. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Christian Watson is 6'4", 208 pounds, 6'4", 6'4". And he runs like that. He's 6'4", and he run like that. He's 6'4", 208 pounds, and he's that explosive. That's insane. And by the way, Jimmy, Matt LaFleur can't be that different. We beat him twice. He can't be that different. We beat him 2 years. We beat him twice. He can't be that different. He can't be that different. Jalen Hurts beat him twice. Nick Sirianni beat him twice. He can't be that different. He can't be that different. Nick Sirianni beat him twice. Jalen Hurts beat him twice. He can't be that different. He can't be that different. Come on. Different? Different? What are we talking about? Different? Different? He can't be that different. Man. We about to prove that the Green Bay Packers are actually lactose intolerant. Because they can't cut the cheese. They can't cut the cheese. They can't cut the cheese. I'm looking at y'all numbers. I'm looking at them. What are we talking about? I'm looking at them. I'm looking at your best receiver not be available. Nonetheless, sorry if we're going through any sort of connectivity issues, you guys. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We just got to charge it to the game. Listen, the Green Bay Packers are a really, really good team. They're a good team. But I wouldn't be talking like this if my team wasn't better. I wouldn't be talking like this if the Eagles weren't better. Trust me, I'm very realistic. If anybody that's watching me, they know my content. Y'all know I'm pretty reasonable. I'm reasonable. I'm honest. You know, I call it how I see it. Green Bay is a good team. They're a good team. But the Eagles are better. The Eagles are better. And it's just that simple. The Eagles are better in every category you could think of. They're better. We're better. Sorry. Sorry, man. Sorry about that. It's going to be a fun game. I would not talk like this if I wasn't confident in the product the Eagles have shown us. And that's going to be your downfall. Y'all blitz too fucking much. That's going to be the downfall. That's going to be the downfall. Y'all blitz too much. Y'all blitz too much. That may work in the NFC North. Oh, wait, I forgot it didn't work there either because you lost to the Vikings twice and you lost to the fucking Lions twice. Y'all blitz a lot, but it's going to be your downfall. It's going to be a fun game. I'm really, really glad that this show went the way it went because I had a lot of fun kicking it with y'all. I have fun kicking it with the ops. I have fun kicking it with the homies. You feel what I'm saying? I really, really enjoy this game of football. And I really, really do enjoy what you guys bring to the table, whether you're an Eagles fan or you're a Packers fan or you're a Commanders fan or whatever fan you are. I really enjoy what you guys bring to the table. I really, really do, because it makes the show that much more electric. It makes it that much more spontaneous and fascinating and just immersive. You guys know I break the fourth wall. I talk to you guys. You know, I include a lot of what y'all say on the show. This is really, really a fun thing that we do here. And I want everybody to know, despite the trash talk, which is what's supposed to happen, it's par for the course. Despite the trash talk, everybody in this live stream has value. Even if you are a Packers fan, even if you are an Eagles fan or Commanders or Cowboys or Giants or whatever fan base you support, you have value in this space. Because whatever you say can and will be used against you in the court of tone. Just what you say can be used for you. It can and will be used against you. And I promise you this. We're going to read Jordan Love and the Packers their Miranda rights. Jordan Love, Green Bay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of Lincoln Financial Field. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a fair trial. But you will get your ass beat on Sunday. And it's straight like that. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys have been tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.